Hello, everyone. John Anderson Pierre, the Beer and TV Ramble. Today, looking at Minhas's Kirkland Signature Light Beer. Kirkland brand, as you all know, is very popular in COSTCO. Our COSTCO that we have here in Mobile just recently opened up in this past May or June, I believe, of this year. And of course, it's been all the rage. It's Costco, this Costco, 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 that. So, but in any event, this is the signature light beer. The breweries out of Regal Brau Brewery, out in Minhas Brewery, I should say, out in Monroe, Wisconsin. Regal Brau Brewery, or Minhas Brewery. So moving it up, 4.2%. Some says 4.1%. Light lager, ABV by volume. 67 score on Beer Advocate, which means they don't like it. Period. The brothers didn't score it. So the other day I did a light beer review of Bud Light. Here's the beer. No lacing whatsoever on this beer, but it looks just like the typical standard light lager that you see at times Bud puts out. So nothing special about it. Pretty good finish for a light beer. I think it's pretty interesting. Goes down not bad. I have a couple of these in the fridge. My friend of mine, Michael, my coworker with me, he put out. I gave him $10, and he was gonna go. He said he's gonna go get the Kirklands. I remember buying the Kirklands the first time when the Costco had opened up, and I went ahead and bought the Kirkland's brew, and I said, "Let me give it a try." I saw the price; it was $21.98 for 48 cans, 48 12-ounce cans. So that's like plus tax. It comes to about $23 and change. So that's pretty good. Um, you know, these beers, and as we talk about these brands, Kirkland's, like many brands you know of, whether it be Best Choice, American Pride, um, so there's a few others. Great Value, which is a Walmart brand. These brands, which is going back to the days of no frills, these are brands, that these companies put out that are sort of the inexpensive, deep, cheap, sort of brands where, um, uh, for the working person, looking for, economic price, looking for something, inexpensive for good quality. Sometimes, unfortunately, a lot of these beers, the quality of them have never really lived up to the mark. Um, some have gotten bad ratings. Some have really not all that great. If you look at Yelp or places like that, you can check and see um, a score, or see what how they turn out, how they whether the quality is good. Again, they're out there for a reason. So when it came to food, ice cream, bread, cereal, things like that, So these companies, or these style of companies, started coming around and started making deals with some of these stores, or these the mega chains like Walmart's and Albertsons, whatever. Um, Winn Dixie, Kroger, and Trader Joe's even, and decided to let's go ahead and let's go get into the wine and beer business. And you see these brands out there, inexpensive, with wine and beer. Um, Kirkland's is a brand of wine. They sublet. They got in contract got in deal with a contractor with a vineyard to put out wines. So they've done the same with beer. Um, Walmart is on the same with a vineyard. The Oak Leaf brand of wines is something you probably see when you go to Walmart. CVS, Oak Creek, or Grape and Vine brand of wine. Um, Rite Aid have the Five Oaks brand. Um, Walgreens, the David Stone brand of wines. Wines that are inexpensive, that it don't cost a lot, wines that are less to next to nothing. The prices at Trader Joe's, the $2 Chuck, from Charles Shaw Vineyards. I know Trader Joe's has a brewery. In terms of they put out a lot of beers. As you've probably seen, Trader Joe's has a lot of beers that are out there. Um, um, again, these brands are inexpensive, cost next to nothing. Again, the brands of wines that I've mentioned, Dollar General come out with a brand of wine. Spring Creek brand, if you see it. And Dollar General started selling alcohol, I believe, back in 2010 or 2011. I could be wrong, but around that time. And um, Walgreens also got into sort of putting out discounted beer, and it's right around the recession. And this beer you probably all know of. That was Big Flats, which was a talk about as bad a beer can be. That was bad, horrible. So, um, but in any event, um, so Kirkland's have put out when they have a lot of lists of different beers. They have a IPA, they have a brown ale, a wheat beer, things like that, with another brewery who they select. And this beer is with Regal Brau Brewing or Minhas Brewery, whatever you want to call it, and based in Monroe, Wisconsin. But of their some of them, the brands are not always great. They don't get, well, like I mentioned with the wines and even the beer. Some of these brands they put out when they go to these grocery stores or these chains they put out there are not really the best stuff. Sometimes some of it is the good stuff. And if you're a fan, you taste it and you're like, oh, this is trash. I can't drink this. Just drop it. Some are pretty good, and I would say that this beer right here, it's Kirkland Light. I would say, actually, I kind of like quite pleasant for me. Um, for the price and for the style, this is pretty good. And for again 21.98, 48 cans of this beer. You know, this is pretty good deal you're getting, and it's not bad. I mean, look, light beer is what it is. Light beer, it's nothing to be say is the greatest thing in the world, the best thing, but it does what it does. So to sort of keep you, on a hot day, you're cutting the grass, you're doing lawn work, you're trying to relax with friends and family members. You know, this is what these beer is. After work beer, sitting on after a long day on the field or in the shop. You're ready to cut loose for the weekend, a Friday afternoon beer. You're just ready to sit bullshit with folks. This is the kind of beer to have. You know, and, it's a light lager, but it's not disgusting as some people may think it is. Actually, it's pretty decent. And I'm gonna give this style probably an 8. And again, the price is probably the biggest thing for me on this beer. Um, 21.98 plus tax for 48 12-ounce cans. That's a damn good deal. And my partner and I, he gave me a couple of cans, gave me about like 12 cans of this, and I have it in my cooler right now. And we'll probably give me another one before I call it a night. So um, it's just really, it's okay. I ain't say it's the greatest light beer, but it's okay. It does what it does. So an 8 for me for this one out of you know out of 10. It's nothing to be say "Woo Rah" is the greatest light beer ever. It's not. It's light beer. So Minhas Brewery, I know Ronald J. Terrell. He talks about it on his sites. And he's probably sampled some of the beers. They probably sell up in the Midwest. None of them outside of this beer here is sold in this area. Um, they probably are not always the best tasting beer, or not really the well made beers. It's just a bunch of crap, and you take a sip and throw it down the drain. But um, this one is okay for me, and I kind of like it. I'm not saying the best, but I like it. So anyhow, that's my score, an 8 on this one. Tell me your comments. Tell me what you think on the bottom. So John Anderson Pierre, the Beer and TV Ramble, telling you to keep watching. Thank you as always, and cheers.